What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rivian. It's been a while since I've done a Rivian video, so I want to go over all the things that you need to know, data points, what's been moving it, what short's been doing, everything. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So market just closed roughly 1 minute ago, and Rivian is the only American EV to close in the green. Nothing crazy, only 0.16%, but a win is a win. 1265 the low, 1322 the high. So a lot of volatility, and in my opinion, this spike was due to the new unveiling that just came out. So right here, and I don't see any official news from Rivian itself, so I think this is still very speculative until it's fully announced, but Rivian unveiling a new electric commercial van. This individual right here, so global index, kind of goes over some of the stats. So it looks like it's starting at 79.9, deliveries begin in April, 2 variants, so 500 and also a 700 series. So yeah, 80,000 is kind of high, and this looks very eerily similar, hint. So yeah, I think all in all it's good, but it does really lack true innovation, unless there is something in there that maybe I'm not really aware of. Like I said, the company hasn't officially announced it. Most likely it should be soon, but last news that did come out was on the 24th and then January the 16th. So aside from that, it's just been piggybacking off the broader market, which hasn't been all that good for EVs. So it's been kind of a tough scenario, and even Rivian's CEO RJ did actually state that. So in an interview he said that EVs are going to struggle, but Rivian is going to survive. So I think I always really valued his confidence, and that's one thing that has definitely set Rivian apart from other EVs, aka Lucid, is their confidence. Rivian definitely does have that. Data points today, though, you did have this. So initial jobless claims coming in at 219,000, and then 215 was the forecast. So you are starting to see more and more negative data starting to come out. And initially, the market did want some negative data to justify a potential rate cut for the upcoming March 19th meeting. So right now there's a 14.5% likelihood of a 25 cut for that, but when it comes down to it, though, now you're getting more and more negative data, too much so. So I think that, alongside many companies unveiling their earnings, that's what's causing some uncertainty in the market today. So Rivian's kind of just stuck in limbo, and most likely you're not going to see any crazy moves up until their upcoming earnings, which is slated for February the 20th after hours. Negative 65 cents for the earnings per share, 1.43 billion for revenue, and over the last 90 days 11 positive and 4 negative revisions to the earnings per share. Revenue, I do believe, did go down slightly, so that's kind of a good thing, because it's kind of lowering the bar expectation wise, so maybe easier for Rivian to beat. But of that negative 65 cents, that does represent a 52.54% year-over-year growth. Negative 79 the low, negative 58 the high, and then revenue 1.43 billion does equate to 8.43% year-over-year growth. Shorts, though, on the other hand, they haven't really been doing all that much. I think it's been a good 2 or 3 weeks since my last Rivian video, and so since then, kind of not much. From beginning of January to where it is now, they did increase roughly about 2%. So now sitting at 19.7% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 146.57 million shares overall are being shorted. Shorts did return roughly around 66,000 shares today. Utilization is 54.35. Just for transparency, Rivian is not a squeeze play. I don't see it as a squeeze play. And even though it does have some crazy spikes, usually shorts are very reactive and do kind of increase at those moments. But yeah, I don't see Rivian being a squeeze play, so still, it is what it is. Moving on from here, though, looking at the options for today, 6.8 million in calls, 5.5 in puts. 40% of all the options being done today were neutral in nature. So most of them are just kind of just taking advantage of the price point, collecting some premiums, so not really bullish or bearish. For the overall premiums today, there was 12.3 million. which is a nice change of events because last couple have been very, very low. Yesterday 5.2, 8.8 the day prior, and 7.7. So there's a lot of good information here, so such as the put/call ratio and everything. So you can always pause it and go through this section. Definitely, like I said, a lot of good information. Of the call options that were purchased today, there's a consensus for it to be roughly around that 1350 mark, and then going into the foreseeable future, so the week ending February the 21st, so that would be for their earnings, you see a consensus for it to be above 16. So do you think that's realistic? Plus or over $16 by their earnings? And then on a side note, bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1250. One thing that I wanted to kind of take away and show you is that the bears aren't really doing much for the week of their earnings. So you're only seeing optimism, you're not really seeing much bullishness. So that's kind of a positive thing. These are the only transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So you are seeing less and less institutions really looking at Rivian. So most likely a lot of them are just waiting for either good macro data, maybe less restriction potentially back on the EV sector, or better yet, just their earnings. So I think just big money is kind of just waiting in limbo. You did have a big one first thing, so 1.7 million, but aside from that, like I said, not all that much. With it closing at 1279 and in the green, it is trading between these 2 points, so this R1 and the pivot. Luckily enough, closing right above this 1278, so going into the next couple of trading days, definitely watch for that to hold. If not, then you might see a kind of a pullback of 1226. That'll be the following support level, and then 1329 and then 1360 will be the next strong target / resistance points. So again, I think technicals as well are playing a very big part in Rivian, so just kind of take note of all that. Aside from all that fun stuff, let's kind of pop over and look at some of the recent analyst ratings. So recent ones, you did have a $6.10 sell initiated coverage. Bernstein, this individual has a 50% success rating, so not all that great. And I've started to cover more and more different stocks, and I've noticed Bernstein went through a rating frenzy. They've gone through and everyone and their dog they've been giving ratings to. So maybe they're trying to make themselves more a stronger presence. I'm not really sure, but as of right now, that $6.10 price target is the lowest Rivian has ever received. Prior to that, it was $8 by CFRA, Garrett, who has a 56% success rating. And then aside from that one very bearish one, you have 12, 14, and so forth. And even given where Rivian's at, those aren't necessarily all that optimistic. So something to kind of keep in mind. Aside from all of that fun stuff though, there is 0 shares available to be shorted. So it is somewhat limited supply. So you might see some corresponding buying, as big money likes to buy these types of stocks just to kind of lend out. So again, there's that. But with it closing at that $12.70 something in change, it did close above this point right here. I know it kind of looks all very, very mumbled together, but this blue line right here is that ALMA, so it did close above that. Also closed above this green line right here, the 200-day moving average, and this blue line, dark blue, 100. So essentially things are kind of good. Most likely it is just going to trade wedge bound between that 50-day moving average and ALMA for at least the foreseeable future. But I think in general they really need to have a home run earnings. If not, then you will really see the massive deterioration of their stock price. And as of right now, over the last 48 hours, we've seen companies hit the actual marks. So the earnings per share, revenue, but they give bad future guidance or even iffy future guidance, and it gets absolutely slaughtered. We've seen a lot of semi plays just today alone go down like 20-something%, even though they had record numbers. So I think in Rivian's case, the market is really, really going to be looking at their future guidance and what they give for all of that. So let me know your viewpoint on Rivian. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Have you been dabbling with options? What's your general thoughts on Rivian? Or just better yet, What's your general thoughts on the whole EV sector? And one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. So I launched it roughly around 2 months ago. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point. Some have even doubled, some have quadrupled in that time period. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.